Okay, okay.
Yes, you're good. You're good. So usually the conversation is usually not so long, but it's very conversational. So you are the expert here, not me. You are the
Look
expert
who
here,
is
not me.
talking.
Yeah. So
Okay.
the goal of the show is to have experts talk about certain subject matters that people experience at work. So it's focused on the workplace, as it were. Last week we had someone talk about bullying in the
Hmm.
workplace, Dr.
Hmm. Hmm.
Godikola Abiri. So today we want to look at workplace stress. And I'm separating this from the regular stress that we all talk about because I want us
Hmm.
to address workplace stress as it were. And that's why the first question that I'll be throwing at you is
Hmm.
give us a brief explanation as to what stress really is.
Hmm. Okay. So basically, I like how you said you like to separate work stress from general stress because work stress is another. It's a whole topic of its own that has its own peculiar features.
Mm-hmm.
Generally, stress is a feeling or an experience where an individual perceives that the demands do not match up to their personal or social resources. So they are
Mm-hmm.
unable to mobilize the personal or social resources required to meet up with a demand. So if
Okay.
that happens now, the body now starts reacting. So the stressful feeling now comes, that stress experience comes because there is an imbalance. Here is demands, and here is the resources to meet up with demands, which is not on the same level with demands. So it's like demands is here, resources is down here. So then as the individual in the middle, that's where stress comes. So that's like the most simple way to put it.
Okay, that's. I mean, like you said, yes, the most simple way to put it. So let's now dissect it. Let's now narrow it down to work-related stress.
Mm.
Sometimes people tell you that they are stressed, and you're wondering what kind of stress are they experiencing. And they talk about work, they talk about how work stresses them out and all that. I don't know if that is what work-related stress means, but I want you to expatiate on that. What exactly is work-related stress? Give it to us as they hot.
So work related stress is like I explained stress, but this one is specifically related to work. So whatever is causing that stress, whatever those demands are, it has to do with work. So
Okay.
it could be whatever your working environment is. So work related stress is whatever the outcome of the stress is, the root cause is work. That's where we call it work related stress. So the root cause is work, but the places that the stress is now exhibited may not exactly be in the workplace. It doesn't
Great.
change the fact that it's work related stress. So the root cause is workplace. That's what makes us now refer to it as work related stress.
Oh, excellent. So what are the signs for me to begin to look out for to be sure that what I'm experiencing is work-related stress, so that I don't overthink what is happening to me and I don't begin to in quote self-diagnose.
Hmm. So a lot of times when we're stressed out, if we really think about it and we really explore it, we're able to identify what the root cause of our stress is. So for example, somebody who is under pressure as a result of deadlines to meet at work, and they're under extreme pressure and it's affecting them so much, they are unable to sleep, they're unable to eat well, they constantly keep thinking about it. When they now look at the root cause, they can easily say that it's because of this task that I have to complete that's putting me under this pressure. So a lot of times we know what the root causes are, and that's how you identify that okay, this is work stress, this is what's going on with me. Because you understand what the triggers are, or you understand sometimes we don't necessarily immediately know that it's work related stress, but we notice that anytime anything that has to do with work or when we are in our working environment, we are completely upset. There is that imbalance that you can tell something is off. So maybe the person can't tell you immediately that yes, it's work related stress, but then you notice that whatever they're in their working environment, that's when that imbalance is. So with that,
So what
you
do
could
I
say that
do?
okay,
What do I
something is
do in
off.
situations like that? What do I do when I notice or realize all this? proper step do I take?
So the first step to this is to acknowledge what's going on and to know what the root cause of your stress is. And of course, sometimes we tend to deny, especially when we love the work that we do. We tend to perceive stress as such a threat. And if I'm admitting that I'm experiencing work related stress, it means that I don't love the job that I do, or I don't enjoy what I'm doing. But that's not true. You can very much love and be passionate about what you do, but you could still experience work related stress. So what's important is you being honest with yourself, acknowledging that, okay, this stress is as a result of ABC related to my work. That honesty is the first step. Now, with that honesty, it now helps you understand, okay, this is what's going on. This is why you're experiencing this. This is what's happening. Then you now start working towards whatever steps you need to take to manage that stress. But that first step is being honest with yourself and acknowledging what exactly your triggers are and what's causing the stress.
Okay, so usually people, I mean, like you said, people tend to deny the fact that they are having this experience, especially when they enjoy the work that they do and they don't want to be seen as being lazy and stuff like that.
Hmm.
How dangerous can it be if I overlook these symptoms and these signs and I just overlook them? What are the dangers in it for me?
Yeah. So, there is something we call burnout, which is an extreme level of exhaustion, physical, mental, social, emotional exhaustion, which is as a result of prolonged exposure to stress. So when
Mm-hmm.
you're exposed to stress for a very, very long period of time, you stand a risk of burnout. And burnout is more severe. Burnout is
Mm.
where we start seeing cases of people having heart attacks out of the blue, people having stroke, people having diabetes, people having so many complicated health challenges. That's where burnout, that's where it takes you to. So denying it doesn't mean it necessarily goes away. It can just keep building and building and building till it gets to that point where it becomes too much, and then you reach a state of burnout, and then it comes with physical or mental health challenges that are quite severe, and that could take you away from whatever the work it is that you're doing. In fact, for some people, it could even be permanently.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah.
Is it possible that um, that this work created stress and its other um, consequences, if I don't pay attention to it, is it possible to lead me to suicidal thoughts? Is it possible?
Yes, yes. Suicidal thoughts are signs and symptoms of prolonged stress. It could be that severe, it could be that extreme where it leads someone to start having suicidal thoughts, suicidal intent. So yes.
So, what do you think organizations? Because my concern here is organizations find it difficult. Some organizations, let's put it that way, find it difficult to even approve leave, right, for their members of staff. And it's even worse this period because they say they've been working from home and all that, and they just assume that all is well. Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you now.
Okay, and they just assume that they don't need it. What role do you think companies have to play in terms of helping their members of staff to either prevent or manage work-related stress?
So this is a very important question because it's a very important responsibility, and that's where running an organization does not mean you lose your humanity, and that's where we appeal to the humanity of employers. Yes, it comes with extra funds to secure the mental health of your employees to manage their stress,
Mm.
but it's important. That's where you touch your humanity. It's not enough to just be doing CSRs. Meanwhile, you are not being humane towards your employees. It's very, very important. That's the first step. Employees give their best. And in fact, what research shows is when you take care of these kind of issues for your employees, manage their stress well, focus on enhancing their well-being, they are more likely to even be more productive. So if you think you're putting your employees under pressure and it's making them productive, what taking care of their mental health would do for you is in fact boost that productivity again. And secondly, when you when you keep putting your staffs under pressure, especially during this time, we're in a very, very strange time. A pandemic is not easy on anybody. Forget what kind of work needs to be done for your organization. It's not easy for anybody. And taking care of the managing stress for your employees, taking care of their well-being is very key. Because at the end of the day, if anything happens to them and they have to be off their jobs, you have to find a replacement. And that comes at an extra cost for organizations. You have to find a replacement, you have to train them, you have to get them up to whatever it is that you're doing. That's a money for you. But if you're taking care of your employees, your absenteeism rate reduces, your resignation rate reduces because they are comfortable and happy where they are. So which means you save money from having to be recruiting time and time again. But sometimes, especially in a kind of situation, in a kind of climb, employers just have this mindset that there are so many unemployed individuals out there. If you go, I can get another. But that says a lot about the image of your organization. And then having to let go of somebody, having to pay them their severance pay, whatever it is that you do when people are leaving.
I shall forget severance package. Most companies in Nigeria don't have anything called severance package. Let's just
That's
keep that
wrong.
one.
So that, that's why I started with appealing to their humanity, because the fact that, like I said, the fact that you are running an organization doesn't mean you lose touch with your humanity. No. So it doesn't mean that you are now out there putting up this image of we are doing well, we are helping the society, but your employees are having the worst of it. It doesn't really make sense. So do it. Look at it as your own CSR to your employees, because you owe them that. They give you all that they can. And that's where we need to also keep emphasizing. A lot of times we also as a society let employers get away with a lot of things.
True.
We let them get away with a lot of things, which creates the enabling ground. But if you're able to manage the stress of your employees, it makes a whole lot of difference. When you walk into a happy work environment, even as a client, you can tell, you can sense it. And that does a lot to even the client who is walking into your organization, because if a client walks into your organization and they can sense that happy climate, they can sense that everybody is enthusiastic and has their head in the game, it gives the client a kind of impression. And if your work environment is toxic, everybody is stressed out, everybody is walking about with eye bags, everybody is looking stressed like they're about to fall off or collapse, it says a lot. The client can also see that, they can tell that something is going on. And sometimes you wonder why clients walk in and walk out of your organization without necessarily engaging your services. A lot of things, it doesn't have to be anybody saying something, people can see what's going on. But the whole thing is, when you manage the stress of your employees well, they are more likely to be more productive for you, more enthusiastic about their job, more creative and innovative about their job. So that's where you see employees who are taking the organization on their head as if it's their own, because they are looking forward to giving back to it. They are in a very happy state. They are in a very stress-free environment, in a good state of mind. So it's easier for them to want to do more and more. So that's what employers need to see. They need to see that side of things. It's not that when you put pressure on your employees, they tend to give you more. In fact, if you take care of their stress and their well-being, they would give you much more than that.
Yeah. So I want to ask, don't you think the human resource department in organizations have a great role to play in terms of employees being able to share their thoughts and feelings as regards the work that they are doing? How best do you think they can set this up without people taking advantage of this feedback system or mechanism?
Sorry, come again. So you're saying what the human resource department can do?
Yes, because usually the human resource department is supposed to be the middleman between the company owner and the employees.
Employee,
Yeah, but
yes.
most times they find it difficult that even the employees are not able to tell the management how they feel or how much of stress they are experiencing due to the job. What best advice would you give to HR managers when it comes to giving their members of staff the opportunity to share? I mean, okay, so let me say what I'm saying. So years ago when I was working for a supply chain organization, um,
Hmm.
every week we have this board where you go to and you think how you feel. No, every day at the beginning of the work day, you think how you're feeling. Then when you're
Hmm.
closing work, you think how you're feeling. At the end of the week, you have this gather. We gather together. Then you share how your week has gone, what has stressed you the most, what do you think can be done better, and all. So I'm asking, how best do you think organizations can help? One, in creating an avenue for feedback about their feelings, about their stress levels, and then two, taking decisions and taking actions even when they get this feedback. A lot of people want to give their feedback anonymously, right? They don't want to be known, and all that, so that they don't hammer them and rough handle them or mishandle them. So, what best practice can human resource managers put in place so that employees can share their feelings as regards work and feedback as it were?
So what you just described is the job description of the HR department. If an HR department actually functions like it should, all these things
Mm.
should be checked. All these things should be put in place. So recently I went for at the beginning of the year I do this psychological first aid training, and I went for one that was done by a colleague, and I saw at least three HR managers there at the
Mm.
training, and I was impressed
Impressive.
because
Yeah.
this is them being proactive. This is them knowing that, okay, this is a very important thing, and if an HR manager understands the technical aspects of this thing, it's easier for them to create programs, to create platforms and avenues for employees to get this kind of support. So when an
Mm.
employee comes up to explain that this is what I need, an HR manager doesn't need to look clueless or it's sounding like this person doesn't know what they're saying. But if an HR manager already knows some of these things, it's easier for them to even notice warning signs. So imagine an HR manager who has training in psychological first aid. When there is something going on in the organization, an HR manager will not only just be thinking about the financial, the work related aspect of the impact of the events on the organization, but they'll be thinking
Mm.
about the psychological impact on the employees.
Impact.
Now, this is
Yeah.
an HR manager who knows what they should be looking for, right? So these are things that can happen. HR managers being proactive. There are mental health experts out there. Engage their services. Try to design something for your organization. Try to design an employee assistance package for your organization that can help you. So nobody is saying the HR manager has to know exactly what to do,
Got to
but
do.
when you
Yeah.
engage the professionals that are there providing these services, it's easier for you to now get it done. So that's what I would say. They need to understand these things. We are moving in a very, very fast world. You cannot sit and be clueless. These things are available online. When you seek the knowledge, you would get it. When you seek the experts, you would get it. You can't sit in the comfort of your office and just assume everything is just going to fall on your laps. You have to go out there. So you have to know what's going on. All these advanced countries, what kind of measures are they putting in place to ensure the well-being of their employees? How is the HR coming in with regards to that? So a lot of these things, we don't have to wait for employees to be the ones voicing out. They should be in place. But in situations where they are not in place, if we are able to create an avenue where employees can also make suggestions, it's a good thing. Because if you have one, two, three employees coming up to tell you that they need something to help them manage stress, it tells you something as an HR manager. So I would say they should be proactive. These informations are out there, they are not hidden. Be proactive, seek the knowledge, and they would know. Bless you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Aisha. This has been very, very educative and eye-opening. Any final word for our listeners and those watching us, and even those that watch later?
Okay, so there is this very simple saying. I learned it from, I can't remember who I learned it from, but okay, it was one of my bosses in the past. He said nobody is indispensable in an organization. Nobody, even the owner of the organization, is not indispensable. Anybody can be replaced at any moment in time, right? So if you think you have to get everything done at the expense of your well-being, the minute your well-being collapses and decides that it can't take it anymore, another person is going to replace you, right? And that whole mentality that we have, that the longer I stay at the office, the better, true. productive, they get their job done. And I know people who still like 4 hours past working hours and they still are struggling to complete what they should have done for a day. So take care of your well-being. You have to be very, very intentional with your activities. You have to be very, very intentional in knowing how you manage stress. You have to be very, very intentional in how much you use your body, how you listen to your body. It's very, very important. I like to believe that we are not as strong as our ancestors were. They used to live so long. They used to live hundreds without hypertension, diabetes. It's not the case anymore, thanks to our lifestyles and our diet. So it's important that you keep this in mind and do better for yourself. Nobody's indispensable. If you're not there, somebody's going to replace you like as soon as the next day. So do what you need to take care of manage your stress, which would at the end of the day, of course, improve your productivity and you stay happy with whatever it is that you're doing. So that would be my last word. Be intentional with your well-being. Be intentional with managing your stress.
Wow. Thank you very much. Be intentional with your well-being. Be intentional with managing your stress. Very, very vital. I tell people that right now you may think you are the best in this company, but if you leave tomorrow, they will get someone else. And with all due
Yep,
respect, there is no company that is worth dying for. So pay
not at
attention
all.
to your health. Your health is important. If you lose the job or if you leave the job, you're going to get another one. It's only a person who is alive, who is alert, who is
Hmm.
ill and healthy that can get another job. Thank you very much, Aisha, for coming on the show today. You
Thank you for
have a
having me.
wonderful evening.
Thank you. You too. Bye bye.
Bye.